Hello, I'm EVM and welcome back to the channel. Now, about a month ago, I did a video about the full electric vehicle used market and whether or not there were any decent prices or bargains on what was out there. In that video, I've had a lot of comments, or rather requests, asking me to do essentially the same thing again, but for plug-in hybrids. Now, I know these are a bit divisive in the EV community, the full EV community, but I still maintain that they have a place for a while, for now. Especially on the used market. I mean, they already exist, they're already out there, and if you can charge at home, then you can make good use of them. So whether or not you agree with PHEVs as a concept, as a thing, the video is there. These cars exist, so let's get them used properly. As always, I'll be looking on Auto Trader, because it's a nice even metric, to see what's out there, starting at the lowest prices and then working my way up to about 20 grand and seeing if there's any decent or reasonable prices, deals and so forth when it comes to the cars that you can get. Right, now the cheapest plug-in hybrid I can find, I'm not suggesting this is one that you'd go and look at, but I thought it was quite interesting to at least have a benchmark of where we're starting. It's £5,790. It's a Toyota Prius plug-in and it's done about 218,000 miles. That kind of answers the question about reliability to an extent, doesn't it? I know it's only one car, but I get a lot of comments about plug-in hybrids saying that they're too complex. There's too many things to go wrong. Has anybody, even in normal hybrid world, let alone plug-in, heard of an unreliable Toyota Prius or any plug-in hybrid for that matter? They're as reliable as a petrol engine car. Yes, I get it, there is more to go wrong, but they just don't, do they? You've got 20, 30-year-old Priuses still driving around on the original batteries, so I don't really subscribe to that they're too complex argument because it's a modern car, they're not unreliable. So you're looking at £6,000 for essentially, I'm guessing that used to be a taxi as well, the cheapest plug-in hybrid. This is 2016, so again, roughly 7 years old. It's a 2 Series, 225XE plug-in hybrid. It's just under 7,000 miles. And apart from being quite possibly the ugliest car ever made, from the front especially, sorry, just made me gip a little bit there, it's still a very good solid car. The reason it's so cheap, it's done 222,000 miles. So again, proof that longevity isn't really an issue when it comes to looked after, because this has got full service history and so forth, a looked after car. Let's now move on to a car that I would actually consider potentially buying if this was my budget. It's £7,000, it's the best form of plug-in hybrid, and it's a Vauxhall Ampera. Now, at 86,500 miles, still reasonable, it's not galactic or anything, perfectly usable. What I mean by it's the best type of hybrid. Big battery, relatively speaking, smaller engine. So this has got a range extender. So it's got a petrol engine. They're not connected to the wheels. The engine just generates electricity. Very much like the BMW i3 range extender that most people are familiar with at least. So it's essentially a full electric vehicle with a generator on board. Decent size, you know, it's a little bit American, but ultimately that could be a reasonable family car. For another 1,200 quid, another Ampera. This one, much better condition from what I can tell from the pictures, the service history and so forth. 77,000 miles, so it's a bit lower. Similar age, but yeah, it even looks okay still in terms of, I don't think it's an ugly car. Now, I'm not going to go through every price bracket of all the cars. So I've shown you, for example, the Ampera, a couple of different versions. You can get one for £10,000, £12,000, much newer, much lower mileage. Same with all the cars I'm showing you. So I'm not saying these are the best ones. I'm saying this is what this particular car seems to start at. Now, move on from the Ampera. This is an extremely common, I mean, there's hundreds of these in terms of plug-in hybrids on the market. They've been around for quite a long time, one of the earlier ones, so that's probably why. And it's the Mitsubishi Outlander. This one is nearly, well, just over 8 years old, £10,000, and solid, reliable, decent family size. It's an SUV, it's not, you know, it's four-wheel drive, it's not my thing, but ultimately it's a decent PHEV. The benefit of these is that there's hundreds of them right now on the used market, which means you can find a decent, looked after, well serviced model. Another car now, which is the best form of plug-in hybrid, bigger battery, smaller generator. It's of course the BMW i3. So just under 11 grand, it's done 90,000 miles. So this is where they're kind of starting out. You can go much higher than this, of course. Full BMW service history. They're quick. They're small cars, carbon fibre, they're very quick. So as a second car, yes, you're only going to have 60, 70, 80 miles of range, depending on time of year. But again, it's got range extender. This one, it's another Toyota Prius, only one that I would consider looking at. Plug-in again, £11,000 and 80-odd thousand miles, I believe it was. This is from a Toyota dealer, so you've got the warranty that comes with it as well. Even though the car itself is 11 years old nearly, it's a Toyota. It's going to be bomb-proof, isn't it? And there's a reason why many, at least around here anyway, many taxis use them, because they are reliable. A car now that seems to hold its value very well, more than other plug-in hybrids. Maybe it's got a bit of a cool factor to it, but it's a Volkswagen Golf 2016 GTE. Quick enough, it's got the 1.4 TSI engine in it, with of course the hybrid helping it out. 11 grand. This one had full service history and again about 70, 80,000 miles on it. It's a Golf. What's more to say? Back to the ugliest car in the world again. It's the BMW 2 Series 225xe. But this one is a bit better than the 220 odd thousand miles that the other one had. This has got 85,000 miles, 85 and a half, 11 and a half grand. You'll get that for. I mean, it's got 220 brake horsepower-ish from memory. It's a good solid car. It's a BMW. It's got the same interior that people are familiar with, that's well built and solid, and it's plug-in hybrid. So, I would put up with the looks because it's a cracking car. Sticking with BMW now, a BMW 330e. Again, good size family car. This is only the SE, so it's kind of the entry level. Personally, prefer the M Sport. But again, £12,000, just under 80,000 miles. And it's a 17 reg car, so you're looking at what? Coming up to 6 years old. Next, we're moving to slightly different motorway, outside lane, never use indicator level. It's an Audi A3 2016 again. It's the 1.4 TFSI plug-in hybrid, essentially. The Sportback, so essentially the estate in Audi speak. 12.5 grand. It's got 73,000 miles as this one, I believe. It will go up and down the motorway. It will do the family thing. It will be a commuter car if you want. Although I will say plug-in hybrids and a good option for people doing lots of miles in terms of, a couple of hundred miles up and down the motorway each day, something like that. As soon as you get past kind of that 50 mile bracket, 40, 50 miles in a day, assuming you charge each night, then it just turns into an inefficient petrol car. So you've got to find a plug-in hybrid that suits you, but you also have to suit it. Slightly newer, better looking Outlander. Thought I'd include this one. 12.5 grand. It's again a 7-year-old. Everything seems to start around 2016. That's when plug-in hybrids, I guess, really started getting produced in some numbers. 88,000 miles, and it's just a better version of the Outlander I've already shown you. Good, decent family car, very reliable. Couple hundred brake horsepower, so it's not even that slow either. Not an obvious choice next, but again, very solid, good cars. It's a Kia Optima. 2016, surprise, surprise, just under 10 kilowatt hour battery, big car. A significant reason why this is included, it's done 86,000 miles, 7-year warranty. So it's under 100,000 miles as well. So this has still got a main dealer warranty left on it. 12.5 grand, 2 litre petrol engine, plug-in hybrid, lots of space, comfortable. Not the most inspiring car in the world, granted, but everything will work. Back with BMW again, another 330e, only this is the M Sport, 86,000 miles. So you're looking at 12.5 to 13 grand for a higher spec M Sport version. And again, it's a bit snobbery, but I would always personally go for the M Sport. It's just a better setup, better spec and so forth. And another good thing about the 330s is there's loads of them. So you can always shop around and find a good example. Plug-in hybrids were more of a premium car thing, certainly when they started out in what is another 2016 version. This is a Mercedes-Benz C-Class C350e. It's not got the biggest battery in the world, but 13 grand, 79,000 miles, It's Mercedes, solid, comfortable, decent size, C-Class. Now at this stage, we're at 13 grandish. And effectively for the next few £1,000s, we've just got the same cars I've already shown you, just higher spec, lower mileage, newer versions of what you've already seen. So there's no point in going through all them again, saying, oh look, there's a slightly better Outlander, there's a slightly better 330e and so forth. So now I'm just picking cars because I'm not showing them yet, and this is what they start at. So a bit of a jump to £16,500, 78,000 miles. This is a BMW. It's a 5 Series though, a 530e. Big car, very comfortable. Even in SE trim, it's going to be really nice. I mean, it's a nice ride. If anyone's owned a BMW, you'll know exactly what I mean. I know they've got a bit of a reputation, but they are very, very good cars. Similar price now, 16 grand, so slightly cheaper. The Wind Knife, as it's often referred to in full EV world, but this is the plug-in hybrid version. It's the Ioniq. 2017, so again, coming up to 6 years old. This has only done about 60-odd thousand miles. And just, again, a solid car, reliable, efficient. A 4-year-old car now. Another Kia. It's a plug-in hybrid. It's the Kia Niro. Now, in full electric version, very highly rated. I love this car. Very nearly bought one twice, but stuck with what we had. So effectively, it's the same car, just in plug-in hybrid version. These seem to be starting at about 15.5, 16 grand upwards. But again, this one's 4 years old, so well in warranty. I don't think this will be that popular, but I thought I'd include it just because it's an E-Class. It's a Mercedes-Benz E-Class. 18 grand for the 350e SE. 282 brake horsepower, and this one had 70,000 miles on it, I think. That basically means when you're driving it, you'll be like this. Yeah, because it's so comfortable and quiet. Still hovering around the £16,500 bracket now. Bit different, bit nicer, I think. I quite like these, even though they're ugly compared to the normal version. It's the Mini Countryman. This is 5 years old. The Cooper SE. In fact, all the plug-in hybrids are the Cooper S electric. So well spec'd, just about family size car. You know, it's decent size boot, good rear space and so forth. People like minis. Going backwards a little bit price-wise, this is just over 15 grand. It's a Volkswagen Passat GTE. So it's effectively the same as the Golf GTE. Passat's never been my cup of tea. I've always preferred a Golf as opposed to a Passat. But if you need extra space, big boot, again, comfortable, all that sort of stuff. 78,000 miles, a couple of hundred brake horsepower, 15 grand. So there's definitely a 15, 16 grand upwards sort of jump in terms of what you can get. Much better looking Prius. I actually quite like these. I know the self-charging thing puts people off Toyotas, but it's a 5-year-old, sorry, nearly 6-year-old, rock solid reliability. This one's done 68,000 miles, 17.5 grand. And it'll probably do another 150,000 miles without breaking a sweat. At that stage, I'm going to stop because we've just got newer, lower mileage, higher spec versions of the cars I've already shown you. As soon as you get above 20 grand, 20 odd grand, then of course you get into, you know, the more modern stuff. But I wanted to stay under 20 grand because, well, they are used cars at the end of the day. There is one car I'm going to show you in a second, but ultimately when I look at the plug-in hybrid market, it is still quite inflated. So they're seen as that get out of tax jail card. And because of it, it's keeping the prices inflated. People are buying them because of all these new zones and so forth. So it's tough to know what to say. I don't want to say any of these are bargains because they're not really. But there is no such thing anymore in car world. When you're looking at an £18,500 Ford Fiesta, brand new, starting price, base model, it just shows you what cars are these days. Finance as well has also gone up considerably, the interest rates. So you could get a 30 grand car on the monthlies for what now is a 20 grand car. I don't want to show you this car though. It's a plug-in hybrid, which I would genuinely want to own. In fact, let me know in the comments, would you consider this a supercar? But considering its original price was, I think, in 3 figures, £105,000, £110,000 car. Now, for what is an 8-year-old car, 39 grand for a BMW i8. I mean, look at it. It looks fantastic, I think, in that colour especially. It's got the unnecessarily cool doors. Yeah, it's not the most practical car, but it's a plug-in hybrid. I could justify that on the channel. If I could just afford £39,000 for a car that I barely use, and I know my wife won't drive it, it's £39,000 for over £100,000 car. It's quite tempting. What do you think? Would you class that as a supercar? I mean, it's got the looks, I think. I know BMW, not fully supercar territory still. I don't know, that there's a lot at this price as well. That's not just a one-off. It's got full BMW service history on that. So it's not a bad example by any means, but they're coming down. They were 45 grand last year, 39 now. I think that's plateaued. It will only stay the same or go up. They're an appreciating classic for me. So thank you for watching, guys. Please do subscribe. Every month I do a members only live stream, so you can ask questions, whatever you want, live, or submit them beforehand. So for 99p a month, you can get that. You can get videos early by nearly a week, every week. And there's a few other members benefits as well for a measly 99p, which gets you about 3 kilowatt hours worth of electricity these days, isn't it? So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you soon.